Hola muchachos, welcome here. We have holes in our shirt and an acne patch on our face. It's kind of bothering me. I hope it doesn't bother you. By the time you guys are watching this video, I'm getting close to being 17 weeks pregnant and have yet to do a Q&A. The thing is for me, as soon as I see or know am I even in the center? Hold on. I'm also hoping I don't spill my coffee in this video on my beautiful white linen bedding. Leave me a like right now because so far so good. As soon as someone on social media or YouTube or a friend or whatever gets pregnant, I'm like, okay, I have questions. I suddenly become this curious person and I just want to know, like, so what's going on? So in today's video, I'm going to tell you guys what's going on. I hopped onto my Instagram and I was like, ask me some questions. I have some Q's. No, you have some Q's. I have some A's. Give me your Q's. I'll give you my A's. Sorry, Kieran, who's editing this video back for me. Yesterday, I went through these questions and I tried to pick out the ones that a lot of people were like continually asking, so hopefully I kind of get to your question here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's go ahead and get started. How are you preparing your other kids for the arrival of this baby? This is baby number 4 for me, and kids really just naturally, at least my kids, prepare themselves. And a couple key things come into play here when it comes to that. And one of them is my body. My body just continually growing and forming this baby and going from stage to stage. My kids, just by visually seeing me, are mentally preparing themselves for baby. There's something in my legging. Oh, okay. Got it, okay. And then I guess on top of that, me and Kieran can kind of help that process by talking to them, getting them to feel baby. Baby is slowly starting to move and kick. I do have a placenta on the front, which I've never had before, so a lot of that feeling, I'm getting it deep and this is so weird. There's freaking holes in my shirt. It's airy. I like it because it's airy. And the washing machine is so loud. This is going really well. Ivy's been through this, Calvin's been through this, Elizabeth hasn't, but she still is kind of at the age where she's getting it and understanding. I have never had such a big gap between 2 kids before. This kid and Elizabeth will be like 2.5, just over years apart, where previously it's been 1.5 years and a year. So there's a bit of a gap here, but I'm thankful because my kids are older and they can kind of understand, and I feel like they deal with it easier and they get more excited about it. And this is a huge thing. I never talk about anything that's gonna happen during or after baby in a negative way. I'm never gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna have, you know what, I'm not gonna have a lot of time, I'm gonna be super busy. I don't say things like that, because then kids are going to link this negativity or maybe concerns that I have with themselves towards baby. So if we talk about baby, it's exciting, it's cool. If I have any concerns, I really keep it to myself and I share that with Kieran or maybe my midwife. But when we talk about baby, it's positive, it's exciting. And then we also affirm them in their roles, even as 5, 3, and 2-year-olds, and how important they are to us. Before you got pregnant with Ivy, were you scared of labor? How did you get over it? I was not scared of labor. There was definitely parts of labor that were not, I don't want to say nerve-wracking, but definitely almost made me feel intimidated. But something I just constantly reminded myself about was that God made my body to actually do this. It's not like God made me and then he was like, you're gonna have kids and it's gonna suck and it's not gonna work out. God intended for women to bear children. Therefore, my body is going to work in its best way in order to do so. So I feel like a lot of people can get nervous around labor because of what other people might say about their labors. And I think it is so important. And I saw this recently, to not scare new moms. I don't know what it is. There's so much fear that new moms have because I think a lot of good stuff is shared on the internet and then some stuff shouldn't be shared so drastically, or new moms just need to kind of really protect themselves and their hearts and their minds during their first pregnancy, because like some stuff it's like, oh my gosh, I would have freaked out if I saw that when I was pregnant with Ivy, but I really guarded myself. I prayed a lot. I really remembered God's intention when it comes to women bearing children and stuff. So I went into labor with Ivy actually feeling extremely good and very confident. And after I gave birth to her and she was on my chest, I looked at Kieran and I said, I would do this again. And I have, and I will continue to do this until I'm done doing this. So really guard yourself, guard your heart, focus on yourself, don't compare yourself to other people, and realize people have awesome labors. It's just a lot of people don't actually share about their awesome labor because they can actually have guilt over it. Please know, I have had no gas, no epidural, totally natural labors, and they've been fantastic. So if you want someone to just tell you labor can actually be so fun and so cool, I'm that person. How much into your pregnancy will you work out? Right to the end. I have worked out before being pregnant, during pregnant, after pregnancy with all of my kiddos. As each pregnancy has gone on, my workouts have changed just because I have some pelvis issues. I also had diastasis recti with all of my kids, and I successfully healed it after my third, but now we're back in. We'll talk about that a little more in a bit. There is nothing stopping me from working out my entire pregnancy. I'm not working out because of vanity or anything like that. Mentally, workouts is, that wasn't a proper sentence. Mentally, working out for me is like the number one reason why I work out. It's literally mentally. I'm happier, I'm nicer, I enjoy my days more, I feel more fulfilled in my days and productive when I start with moving my body. And labor is like a marathon. I want to be fully prepared for labor, and for me, working out is just a really good way that I can do it. With names, do you usually wait until the baby comes out, or do you decide before? We usually... Me and Kieran are very relaxed with names. I love these videos of people being like, these are the baby names we have picked, these are the names we're not using. And the husband and wife, there's points where I'm like, this is almost heated. Like the woman would be like, I would never name my child that. And the husband is like, I would have loved to name my child this. Like, I'm so thankful that Kieran is really relaxed when it comes to baby names, and I would like for him to think that I'm really relaxed too. Maybe he doesn't, but I feel like I am. I named Ivy. Ivy Yvonne. That was a name I just had picked out and I loved it. We didn't actually have a name for a boy, really. There was a few, but I was really set on Ivy Yvonne if it was a girl. Then with Calvin, you know what? I named Ivy and I was like, Kieran, name the kid. Whether it's a boy or girl, we didn't know the gender for all of our kids. And Kieran chose Calvin Isaac. I was like, cool, I'll go with that. And then for Elizabeth, when your third baby comes, it's just kind of like, we'll figure it out sometime. And we had a bunch of names, but when we looked at Elizabeth, we were like, you are an Elizabeth. And then for this one, we have a girl name picked out, and then we kind of keep playing around with the boy name, but we have an idea of names, and usually some like pretty certain ones that we like. And then when baby is born, that's when we really figure it out and decide. We can take our time, we can be quick about it. Me and Kieran aren't really that picky. We have the same taste in names, which is nice. Is 4 kids your goal, or are you planning for more? I want more! After Elizabeth, I was like, I'm done, I'm good. We tried adoption and it didn't work out. It wasn't really our fault. It kind of was, but anyway. Long story, but when we decided to have this one, I think when I really thought of the age gap between Elizabeth and this one, I thought I would like to maybe have one more after this, depending on my pregnancy and how everything goes. I don't think I want to stop at 4. I would like to have this one and maybe another, I have no idea, where they are closer in age. Kind of have like 2 sets of kids, you know what I mean? So I'm not even looking at this pregnancy like it is my last, because I honestly would like more. How crazy is that? How is your diastasis recti doing? Hope for a smooth pregnancy and delivery for you. And that was the nicest thing about reading through you guys' questions, was just a lot of people being like, we're praying for you, we hope everything goes well, thinking of you. And I was like, dang, you guys are so pure and so nice and so genuine. Seriously, thank you so much for all that kind of stuff. As for my diastasis recti, so after Elizabeth, I completely healed 3 different pregnancies where I dealt with diastasis recti. So here's the thing. When you're pregnant, your abs do split. It is very, very, very rare that your abs will stay together. Your abs naturally split. But diastasis recti comes in when your abs split, and then postpartum, they don't go back together. Usually postpartum, the abs will kind of come back together over time, but diastasis recti is just when they don't and won't. So mine didn't and wouldn't. So I did workouts and they came back together. And as of right now, my abs are separating the way that they're supposed to. I don't feel loosey-goosey through here. I actually feel really firm. I've actually dealt with some muscle tension through this area because I am so firm through here that now with the growing belly, it's kind of challenging that tightness that I had and have in my abs. So I mean, things are going good. I won't know if I have diastasis recti until I just spat everywhere. Until like postpartum, I think I will have it, and I'm not gonna be too sad about it because it just gives me something that I can continually work on to better and then get to a point where I was before this pregnancy, where I had abs and felt super toned and tight. Those were the days, man. Those were such good days. But I'm so thankful that I'm pregnant now and I'm loving this like ridiculous belly that I'm starting to get. Do you want to labor at home again? Absolutely. My first two, I labored in the hospital. Elizabeth, I labored in the bathtub, and I am planning to do the exact same thing. I'm going to give birth, Lord willing, at home in the bathtub. That's how this is gonna go down. I loved a water birth. I found it to be so soothing on my really sore, cramping belly. The water was just such a pain reliever. I loved it. So that is the plan this time. I really pray that I get my home birth again because I just loved it. Previously, I just nixed the transition. Like I didn't have to transition from here to the hospital to here, and I felt like that kind of made it harder for the kids. Transitioning, going back and forth, and they're waiting for mom to come home, and that's when the baby comes, like it's a little bit much. But if I can stay at home the entire time, kids come and visit me while I'm in labor or whatever, like awesome. I just found it easier with Elizabeth, that transition, and it was just so nice to stay at home the entire time. It was so nice. Are you gonna share baby's gender before you give birth? No, because I will not know baby's gender before giving birth. I don't like knowing the gender of my babies before I give birth. We live in a society where like the gender reveal, finding out the gender before, all this stuff is quite big. And I personally think knowing the gender ruins it for me when it comes to my own children. There is nothing like the adrenaline of going into labor, giving birth, and then finding out the gender. It was the way that God kind of made it, you know? And I know with technology, like things have changed and you can find it out, and I'm not judging anyone who's found out the gender before. Most people in my life have found out the gender before, but for me, knowing the gender before doesn't serve me at all. I found I didn't have to plan before, which was nice. I didn't have to be like, oh, I'm gonna have a girl, so I'm gonna buy girl clothes. Oh, I'm gonna have a boy, so I'm gonna buy boy clothes. I just kept with the neutral newborn clothes, had my kids wear those, and then by the time they're no longer newborns, then I could go ahead and buy them things that would be suited to a boy or a girl. I don't know, honestly, it takes out all the fun, and I also don't want to be this person, but here we go. I don't take a lot of interest in finding out what other people's kids are. Like when people are like, oh, we're having a boy, we're having a girl before the baby is born, it's kind of like, oh, cool. Like it doesn't do anything for me. And I know the whole gender reveal, these holes are just the weirdest. And I know the whole gender reveal party, it's not happening as much right now, but it's still like a thing. People get invited and it's exciting, but I've never gotten excited over the fact that someone is having a boy or girl. I get excited over the fact that someone is pregnant. That's it. And then when the baby is born, then I take interest and I'm like, did you have a boy or a girl? Then, and only then am I really, really interested. I could talk about this for a long time. I think I already have, but it takes away so much of the fun. I love not knowing what I'm having until giving birth. I'm kind of old school, traditional like that. You should have been at my wedding. Very traditional. I don't know, I just like it. I just think it's fun. And I don't really care about the gender heavily. I've never been like, oh, I want a boy, I want a girl. I think I kind of can lean to one gender or the other, but it's never intense. Like I'm like, I'll have what I have, and all I want is a healthy baby. That's what I'm focusing on. Are you and your hubby still intimate during pregnancy? If so, how far do you keep it up? We are intimate like right up until labor. For all pregnancies, we found intimacy to actually be a nice way of getting ready for labor. It naturally ripens your cervix, it can help you dilate, it can help bring on labor. I knew a girl and during intimacy, her water broke and she gave birth on their bed. And she was like, it was awesome. Nothing is stopping me from having intimacy with Kieran unless my midwife said like, oh, we're having some issues. But then even in that, we would practice intimacy differently. But also, dude, like, Kieran, we need to be intimate more. I know it's just like, we've had a busy season of life, but I always crave, not always, a lot of the time I can crave intimacy more in pregnancy just because like my hormones and stuff. Intimacy during pregnancy is like totally cool and actually kind of fun. And just parts of my body are bigger and better and I feel better about it. I don't know. Nothing's gonna stop me from being pregnant and being intimate with my husband who made me pregnant at the same time, unless my midwife says like, we're having some huge issues here, kind of like life or death stuff, then I'm like, oh, okay. What is the hardest part of pregnancy for you? Ooh, definitely just my belly growing. I am 5'4" if I stand up really tall or like really straight, which like that's not really short. It's kind of average, but I'm shorter than most people that I know, so it feels really short. But I have a short torso. Like I don't have a lot of room through here. So as my belly grows, I really feel it through my groin, pelvis, like hip area. That's the hardest part of pregnancy for me. Just it growing. It can cause a lot of just like discomfort and like tenderness through that area. And pregnancy insomnia. I struggle with pregnancy insomnia. It sucks. I will go sometimes a couple nights with no sleep and it's horrible. Or sometimes I'll just be awake for like 6 hours at night for no reason at all. Melatonin gummies are saving my life right now. But I've had pretty easy labors and pregnancies and postpartum experiences. But as far as just hardest stuff in pregnancy goes, pregnancy insomnia, and just kind of working with this growing belly. Next, the question. 28 weeks pregnant, scared to death about postpartum life. Any tips? Again, please either guard your heart or some people need to stop oversharing their postpartum lives. I do think it can help people. Like I know there's some postpartum stories that are so helpful, but we need to be so careful to not scare new moms. We need to just tell them how it is, but be gracious about it. And also know like my postpartum life was the best. I loved being postpartum almost as much as I loved pregnancy. Your baby is there, you're healing naturally from something that was like pretty intense. I never bled a lot, I never hemorrhaged or had any issues like that. I got to see a lot of people. Baby was there, which was so cool. I started to breastfeed, I started to lose weight. Postpartum is so different for everyone, but don't think your postpartum outcome is gonna be negative. Just have that mindset. As for tips, belly wrapping is so great because it just kind of pushes everything back into place and order, and it just feels nice to have like a bit more of a snug feel through here. Eat lots of snacks, drink lots of water. If you have a husband or someone who's willing to help you, just get them to help. Don't feel like you gotta do everything in the first week or two. Take advantage of whoever's there to help you during that like kind of 2 weeks of you having a baby. Take baths with your baby. I never had issues postpartum mentally or physically, so don't think that your postpartum is gonna be horrible because other people's were. And I know it's kind of the same thing, like don't think yours is gonna be good because mine was, but I guess I just want to give you some hope. Postpartum life is freaking awesome. I kind of live my best life when I'm postpartum. I really do truly enjoy it. Don't be scared of it. If you work yourself up to being nervous and scared over it, you're gonna be nervous and scared when it comes. Oh man, just enjoy your baby, heal yourself, do what you gotta do, take lots of salt baths. That's it. Okay, a few more. Pregnant with my third with you. That is so cool how many people are pregnant with me right now. I love it. What would you do differently this time? Nothing. I've been very intentional in all my pregnancies, and I wouldn't really do anything different this time around, but I am more careful about my skincare, the products I'm using, all that stuff, because everything I put onto my body goes into my body, into my bloodstream, and to my baby. Things like artificial fragrance, bad chemicals, toxic chemicals, all that stuff that you put on your face or use, like salicylic acid stuff, all that kind of stuff, it goes to your baby and it's not good for your baby. So I guess I'm being a lot more careful about the items and products that I'm using on my body, my face, my hair, for the sake of baby and just baby's well-being and like healthy blood and stuff. But that's really it. I'm continuing to eat well, working out. I'm thankful that I have some nice maternity pieces that I'm wearing right now. But yeah, that's it. I feel like I did really well in my pregnancy. I mean, all my pregnancies, but especially Elizabeth. So I just kind of want to keep that train moving. How do you decide which workouts are safe for you and baby? It's pretty simple. For me right now in this pregnancy, I can't do any workouts that have jumps in them. So say like I'm doing a burpee, I can't jump up, come down on the ground, throw my feet out back in. I go on releve, then I come down, I walk my feet out to a plank, I walk my feet back in, and I just continue that. Any sort of jumping jack, I modify to side squat, side to side. I can't jump because of my pelvis. It just brought too many issues. So I can still work out, I just can't do things like that. I don't do any workouts on my back because I find that I just can't breathe properly, and I don't do things like crunches or sit-ups or anything that encourages my belly to cone. I'm very aware of what my body's doing while I'm working out, so if it's my belly starting to cone or whatever, I stop, reset, just very careful in that way. I still do like Pilates, which is great for mobility, lots of boot camps, lots of booty, lots of arms, lots of core stuff. You can still work your core when you're pregnant. You just gotta do it a little bit differently, and that's cool. And yes, working out while you're pregnant is totally safe. I think too many people think it's not. Like, movement is bad, and you gotta give your uterus a lot more credit than that. Your uterus protects your child from like the craziest things. It's quite incredible what your uterus can do. So if you're working out and moving around and doing all this stuff, your uterus is taking care of your baby, and your baby is totally fine. I've worked out through all my pregnancies, and all my babies have been awesome. All my labors have been awesome. All my postpartum lives have been awesome. Oh man, I love working out. And I usually work out 4 to 5 times a week. Then here and there, I do deep stretches to open up, especially like my hip and groin area, getting me ready for pregnancy. And then stretching up through here, because I feel like you can just kind of feel tight and you're like losing room through here, so it's nice to like really pull up and stretch through here. Not a pregnancy question. When are we getting merch? We're working on it. Thank you for watching. I hope that this answered obviously some of your questions that you had. I love talking about pregnancy, and I especially love talking about my pregnancy. So I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if there's any other pregnancy content you guys want me to do. I've done things like things I'm no longer using. I've vlogged a bunch of pregnancy stuff. I vlogged my entire first trimester. All this stuff you can see on the baby playlist back on my channel. But is there anything specific you guys want me to show you? Let me know and I will try to do that. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!